Hello and welcome back, everyone, to Last Level Press. I'm Mr. Black, and I am back from the vast reaches of the desert. I have returned, and among my many great accomplishments, out into that great vast reach of the desert that is El Paso, Texas, visiting my grandma for her 90th birthday. Hooray, she is almost a century old. Quite an accomplishment. Really, seriously, it is. But, as I said, among my many great accomplishments, I got a haircut. You likey? And apart from announcing that I no longer resemble a majestic Sasquatch, I've got updates for you. And it seems like you lot and the rest of the world were quite active while I was away. What with the 2K weekend, which I was loath to miss. I logged in to activate the upload Friday night while I was away and noticed that all of these games that I had wanted to feature onto the channel and that were either free for the weekend or marked down 70, 90, 80%, I was away. I was 700 miles away from my recording office, unable to bring any of these to your attention. But I did notice that there were a couple of live streams filling in for my absence while I was away. Thank you very much for that to those of you who hosted those. And I also noticed, getting home from all of my errands to catch up on things today, Amazon bought Twitch, Google who, and even a couple of fun little surprises were waiting for me upon my return, and it was nice to have a couple of fun little surprises to return home to. That was nice. So, thank you, first off, once again, to Huáscar Lara, now better known as Mr. Whiskers of a Gamer's Dance Studio, whom I have featured in a couple of our collabs now with Gmod. That was a lot of the content that I uploaded while I was away for quite a while. For gifting me Borderlands Game of the Year Edition during the Steam sale over the weekend. I'm starting to lose count of the number of games that he's donated to me now. It's like 3 or 4 now. Thank you. Incredibly, very, just enormously, uber much, sir. You gentleman and a scholar. Absolutely. And I look forward to finally jumping into that game, which I have never played, mind you. Quick little bit of story time with Mr. Black here. I've never played Borderlands or Borderlands 2. Mainly because ages ago, and I'm going to be showing my age a little bit here, when well, actually I still do, but around the time that I first had a Game Informer magazine subscription. Remember magazines, kids? I still receive them, and Game Informer is one of the only ones that is still in print. I remember seeing their first breaking, I believe it was exclusive, coverage article for this game in production called Borderlands that looked really cool. It was gun porn for gamers because of the thousands upon thousands of different combinations of parts that they were going to be promoting for the game. It just looked like it was really, really cool. But the original art style for that game was not the exaggerated, almost pseudo-cartoony, cel-shaded style that is now so iconic for the Borderlands series. Originally, it was a little bit more like Rage or Fallout, in that it was a bit more, not really true to life because the technology wasn't quite there yet, but it was more like photoreal-ish. And I actually liked the original art style. I really liked it from those early screenshots. And when I heard sometime later, a few months later if I recall correctly, that they were completely changing the art style, and I saw a couple of screenshots of the new characters, the new renders, the new art style, I was already so attached to the original that it just completely destroyed my desire to have anything to do with that game. Never mind the fact that after its release and its sequel, they received rave reviews and were praised almost across the board. But no, I knew better because I read this original article telling me that the game was gonna look this way, and I got attached to the end. So long story short, never ever picked the game up, even after I came to the decision that it was not really the greatest criteria upon which to judge the game when it came to deciding what I was going to buy and everything. But by the time that I'd sort of revised my stance regarding the game, it was once I had started doing this and started making dirt. So the games are still rather pricey, which, again, thank you. Even marked down Huáscar very much for gifting the first game to me, the Game of the Year edition, with all of the extra little bits and bobs that are going to be fun to play with. So, yeah, that's my story time when it comes to Borderlands. I know a lot of you guys already love that game. Never played it! So, I can definitely say that I will be doing a first 15 on it at some point. I can't guarantee when. I don't know whether or not I will do a full Let's Play series on it. I might, but as with so many things, and as I mentioned in my previous vlog, I'm going to try to be a bit more realistic with myself and expectations of projects. Can't promise it, but I might. Now, as I also mentioned in the previous vlog, and as some of you guys who were quick to notice my return on Steam and on our forums and a couple of other different places, you all know I was out of town for several days. I purposely, for personal security reasons, didn't give exact dates. This is the internet, and people are somewhat evil sometimes. But yes, for several days I was gone out in El Paso visiting my grandma for her 90th birthday, and I will not bore you all with the mind-numbing minutiae of a vacation rooted in the celebration of someone's 90th birthday. Because amazing as that feat is, you can imagine that particular party was less than lively. It was about exciting as you would imagine. However, I was out there for several days, and we had some downtime. I got to spend some time with family, I got to recharge. It was really, really cool. I actually needed this vacation. You guys can probably tell in my demeanor and my voice, like I can notice it in myself. I really got the chance to just unplug and recharge. I feel so re-energized now. I was looking forward on the drive back, the 13-hour drive back from El Paso to Houston. Yes, those of you who do not live in Texas and are calling me a liar right now, no, you can drive for 13 or more hours across this state and still be in the same state. And yeah, that's I believe it's about 700 miles from El Paso to Houston. Long, long day on the road. But anyway, as I was out there, had some free time, and I got to have a little bit of fun on my own out there well, not quite on my own. I was joined by a cousin of mine and Violeta, and we got to have some fun because while I was at the party of my grandmother's 90th birthday, my cousin Rick approached me and asked me whether or not, if he were to bring, because I'm kind of the family tech support guy with a lot of the largely older members of the family out west, approached me and asked if I can bring you a couple of these old computer towers. We're talking old computer towers here. Can you show me which pieces in there are the ones that I would need to have wiped so that no one can get any of my social security or bank information off of it? I said, yeah, sure. No problem. Just bring them over to the hotel tomorrow and I'll see about taking those out. And do you have a strong magnet so that we can just wipe them? That way they can physically never be read again. He goes, no, but I have an M1 Garand. And you know where this is going. The next day was glorious. Brought over the computer towers, we took them apart, and he reveals that he has not just brought an M1 Garand for us to take out to an outdoor desert range, but also a German K98 and two different 357 revolvers, one full-size, one compact. And we had fun. It was the first time that I ever got to fire any World War II era weapon, much less an M1 or a German K98. It was rather interesting, actually, as a student of history, because for those who are not in the know of firearms history, the M1 was essentially the standard American battle rifle during World War II. Rather, let's not piss everybody off by accidentally mentioning the wrong conflict. And the German K98 was essentially the German counterpart. These are the rifles that opposed each other during World War II. A lot. And as far as like firearms review, because one fire sitting is definitely enough, I was actually surprised. I really enjoyed firing the M1. And so did Violeta, as you can probably see, as I'm sure I'm subbing in over here-ish all of the video from that. Unfortunately, we only recorded our virgin shoots with the M1. We did not record any of the K98. I kind of wish I had in hindsight, but it was kind of a last-minute thought to be like, hey, we should probably record this because this is fun. This is really cool. And I really liked firing the M1. It was not nearly as strong recoil as I was expecting, even though it fires a 30-06. And the peep sight actually wasn't as intrusive as I expected. Focusing on the front sight, the ring of the rear peep sight actually kind of blurred out. And dim video games lied to me. I actually kind of like peep sights in real life, so who knew? As for the K98, did not like that sight pattern. It was odd. It was like this, with a little, like, point for the front sight. It just wasn't a sight pattern that made a great deal of sense to the way that I like sight patterns to be, and because it is a very lightweight rifle, especially compared to the very heavy M1, I found myself like, well, if I had to ruck this thing around for 20 or 30 or more miles, I wouldn't mind having the K98 on my back because it's much lighter, but if I recall correctly, it actually fires a higher caliber round with a lighter frame, meaning that K98 kicked like a frickin' mule. My shoulder hurt so bad firing that thing. But it was fun. It was a really good afternoon, and it was also a cool learning experience to actually get hands-on with some of the things that I've read about for ages and never had the opportunity to fire. Plus, I will cut now to the aftermath of our success in making sure that all data on my cousin's hard drives were completely unrecoverable. So, after my cousin Rick requested some computer part destruction and disposing of hard drives, I think we've done our job with M1 Garand 357 and a Car 98. We've done well.
Can we turn it over?
Yeah. Now let's have a look at the exit wounds.
Oh yeah.
Oh wait, hey, you can actually see one of the slugs.
Oh my gosh,
there it
guys,
is.
Can you see that? That is right there.
And then, of course, there's
one of these is mine, by the way.
Well, here, let's see if we can figure it out, because I think, yeah, that was your 357 hole.
That one right there. See that gigantic thing right there? Yeah, that was me, everybody. That was Violeta. All right. So this is the, oh wow, there's like some metal thing in there.
Are pretty intense.
Yeah. Let's see what the front looks like. Look at that, guys. El Paso trip well spent.
Indeed. And as if to just grind sand into the wound of already, now that I'm back, missing the desert, and this year it's abnormally dry and cool climate. No, really. Like, it was 60 degrees one morning after a desert rain rolled in off the mountains. It was gorgeous out there compared to the 103 and 100% humidity that we were enjoying here in Central Texas and the Houston area. The desert was more comfortable by a long shot. Anybody that tells you that humidity doesn't matter has never been to the desert and experienced 100 degrees there versus 100 degrees here. The difference is real. And upon returning to lovely, humid, sweat dripping off of every bit of me, Houston, I come home to find that I've been nominated for the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. Thank you, Vicky Matthews, an old friend of mine from ages ago, back in the day when the MSN chat room function was still around, and we met during one of the really, really cool roleplay chat servers that was like server, is that what you would call it? One of the old roleplay chat rooms that was there for fantasy, and we had a whole community there, the old Dragon's Lounge. If any of you old DL people are still around, let me know, because I do remember those days quite fondly. And she and I were fast friends there, and keep in light contact now, and she was nominated way over in England, and nominated me. So yeah, thank you for that a great deal. What I would not have given to have received, or at least heard of, my nomination while I was still out in the glorious desert of El Paso, where it would be nice and dry and warm, but not, because here, humidity, getting wet, not going to dry out very quickly. So, without further ado, what follows is the recording of my challenge, and there will be two versions of this video that you're about to see uploaded. This one and a standalone version of just the ice dumping. Enjoy. Alright, the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. I, Cliff Davenport, aka Mr. Black, have been nominated by an old friend of mine, Ms. Vicky Matthews, from all the way across the pond, as it were. So thank you very much for that, dearie. I will be donating $10 to ALS Research, And I'm not sure I'm ready for this. But screw it, we're doing it anyway. Stalker mode, engage. Up we go! Oh dear God. Okay, yeah, was not ready. Was not ready. All right, I nominate Jerry Germanis, Huascarayas Lara, and you behind the camera, Stephanie Sommer, aka Violeta of Last Level Press.
Thanks so much.
Oh dear God. Oh God, it's in my shoes and my boxers. Damn, it's okay. All right. Yeah, laugh it up. You enjoy my suffering, don't you? I of course you do. Why else would you click on this? I'm sure I either put it in the name or in the thumbnail. Now, before I close, I want to discuss a little something with you all, and I do not have an outline for this part of this vlog. As I've mentioned before, I usually operate on an outline, but I want to be very candid and genuine about this, because it's something that I feel rather strongly about. So I think operating without an outline will allow me to be a little bit more genuine about it. The thing that I want to address is that I want to dispel a lot of the criticism and concern that I rather frequently see, even still to this day, regarding the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge and all the videos and posts that people have made on it and posted it across social media, Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter, everywhere. A lot of people will comment that, oh, this is just wasteful. Oh, this is just self-indulgent nonsense. This is just a popularity contest. No, I could not tell you how very wrong you are, because you've clearly demonstrated, if you're going to make a comment like that, that you don't even care to understand the nature of what this represents. Yes, it's fun. I want to make a statement catch on here. Charity is allowed to be fun. There is no argument here. And the thing that I want to educate people on, because it's been irritating me to see this constantly in the face of such an amazingly positive charity, gaining such popularity, so many shares, and yet it is dismissed as self-indulgent nonsense by so many people. And I just can't fathom that people just want... I'm a cynical person. All of you know this. I'm an incredibly cynical person, a pessimist at heart, who wants to look for the positives in life, but has not lived a life to lead me to believe that positives are always possible, most of the time. And even I, when I first caught wind of the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge and saw, okay, that's kind of silly, what is this thing? Took all of 10 seconds, no exaggeration here, no exaggeration. 10 seconds, Google, ALS Challenge. And I had my answer of what it was. A charity, for those of you who are not in the know, for ALS. What exactly is this called? Let's find out exactly what we're talking about here. Amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS, also known, I believe, as Lou Gehrig's disease, the very thing that afflicts great minds like Stephen Hawking. It is, I'm by no means a medical student here, so don't take my word for it in terms of specific definitions, but as I understand it, a muscular disease that is kind of like muscular dystrophy in that it is rather painful and causes continual degradation of one's muscles, limiting mobility and movement. And like I said, as I understand it, rather painful. The whole idea behind the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge is the fact that since this condition is painful, and I believe rooted a little bit in like muscle contraction, the ice bucket being a sudden shock of cold that will cause the muscles to tense is something that by no means really encompasses or emulates what those who suffer from this terrible disease actually feel, but it's kind of something along those lines and is meant to be a symbolic gesture of I will share in a little bit of your pain and also donate to a cause that is rooted in trying to cure or at least treat this disease. The ALS Association is a research group that is trying to generate these sorts of treatments and eventually cures. And I can think of nary a better cause than that to donate to. And the nature of the way that the challenge works is, again, for those who are not aware, I don't know exactly where it started, but a chain of sorts of nominations. Whoever has to dump ice on their head, they then have, they then nominate several people. The usual trend seems to be 3 other people to do it within 24 hours. And if they do it within those 24 hours, they can donate $10 or whatever else they choose to. For my part, I can only donate $10 because I'm dirt poor. There's no gentle way to put it. I just don't have excess money. But for this kind of cause, I will set aside what little I can for the cause. And if you do not respond to your challenge within 24 hours, you're then kind of socially pressured to donate $100. You can also decline to be just a no-fun police and not pour ice on your head and then just do $100 anyway, or more again. And the thing that is just indisputable, this has become a viral sensation. Even I, as much as I love this trend and what it's done, I'm getting a little sick of seeing it everywhere. But the fact that we do see it everywhere, every day, numerous times a day, from now almost any given celebrity you can imagine. Matt Damon dumping toilet water on his head. Boogie2988 dumping himself in character as Francis. The entire cast of the Avengers all going back and forth, nominating each other, and on and on and on. And Lady Gaga just trying to be a statue and going, and of course she would. But the very fact that it has become so visible and so popular is what has... I've lost track. I've been out of town for a week. I've been unplugged for a week. Last I checked, I knew that last year's drive raised, I believe, $1 million and some change, 1.3, 1.7 million for the ALS Association donation drive. That's a lot of money, but this year, last I checked last week, was approaching $15 million. And checking it today, they're up to $60 to $70 million and still going. I can't math the percentage there. Last week, it was over 1,000% increase in revenue for this cause and for the research that is going to make so many people's lives better. Let's try to do a little math here. On camera, no cuts, no editing. From roughly $10 million is 1,000% increase, roughly, right? So from 10 to, let's call it 70, because I know we're going to get there, is what, a 7,000% increase? If you scoff at that much money being given to charity, you're a terrible person. There is, again, no gentle way to put it. This is an amazingly positive thing. And I really, really hope that trends like this don't go away, that this isn't just a flash in the pan, that cultural generosity like this catches hold. You guys that are aware of my plans for this channel know I'm all about the idea of using wide audiences for good ends, for charity. It's why I look up to other YouTubers, the likes of Markiplier, who recognize that they, just like all of the actors who have millions and millions of fans, can tap that viewership and direct all of that fandom, that energy, towards something good, rather than just either doing nothing with it and remaining neutral, or just reveling in all of their own image of self-worth, as so many of us are just cynically of the mind that celebrities do. To direct all of that positivity toward a worthy cause like this, and for that to then actually work, and to now even start bleeding over into other charities. I mentioned I was nominated by my friend Vicky, and as I understand it, if I recall correctly, her donations for her part of the challenge are not going to the ALS Association, they're going to a local fire department. And that's awesome! Would she have donated to that fire department were it not for her being nominated by who she was? Probably not. Let's be realistic. And yet, now that this challenge has come her way, and now my way, money that would never have gone to these places that need it, that deserve it, are getting it. That is awesome! There's no argument here. To criticize charity is criticism rooted in ignorance. And that is what I wanted to dispel here at the end of this vlog, because I just keep seeing it. It's laziness. It's all it is. Laziness. People who want to just knee-jerk criticize this trend. And again, just call it self-indulgent pandering to crowds. Oh, they're just doing it because it's popular. You know what? Maybe they are. But if they're just doing something that will help the world because it's popular, that is a good thing! And I will not hear any argument to the contrary. Because if anyone at all, decides that they can do something for someone else to try to make the world a better place, that is a beautiful thing. And that it's just something that it seems like so many are so just fast-paced and into that need of immediate gratification, and they need to be that edgy, cynical one amongst their friends to just be like, oh, this is popular, it must suck, it must be awful. No, not this time. And again, 10 seconds. 10 seconds of Google is all it took me to find that out. Do your research. When you see charities like this, do your research. When you see charity drives, charity live streams on Twitch, again, bought by Amazon, who saw that coming? Seriously, look it up. I got an email from the usual chain of all of the Twitch CEOs, sent all of that out. Apparently those talks were quiet. Those people that do charity drives, that direct their audience, however large or small, toward something good, those are real heroes. Not to take anything away from anyone else. Not to say that because they are real heroes, that others are not. Don't mistake me here. Don't misunderstand this because you want to get offended by something. Those people are real heroes. Those are the people that I want to emulate. Those are the people whose footsteps I want to follow, and that my co-founders want to follow. Those are the plans that we have. I hope, I really desperately, truly hope, that this, as shocking and painful as it was, will kickstart our trend toward participation in charity events, as I've always had planned. And again, I cannot thank enough. Whoever came up with the concept of the ALS challenge, and whoever that first few thousand people were that it took to kick this trend off and make it go viral and make it popular. Again, there's no determining that, really. There's no predicting that, and there's no planning that out for future events. But even so, just speaking into the wind for wishful thinking, whoever it was that kickstarted all of this to do something to benefit humanity on a mass level, thank you. And thank you to all of you for putting up with all of my ranting and nonsense. This is what happens when I speak without an outline. I warned you. Because this is something that I really wanted to get off my chest. It's also something I really wanted to share with you guys, and because I recognized, looking at my timer here, that I'm going over the half-hour mark, why I'll be uploading multiple versions of some of this, and look forward to Violeta's version of this, because, yeah, I kind of nominated her on the spot, and she didn't have a whole lot of choice to do the same thing, so that'll be getting released soon as well. So, really, that's all I've got to say for today. Again, quick recap. Had a great vacation, feeling really re-energized, loving it. I'm actually looking forward to getting back to work again. I was starting to dread work, and that's never a good place to be when you make your own hours and you decide what you do. Getting that hesitation to want to engage in one's work when you are your own boss is not a good thing. Don't have that anymore. I got the chance to recharge and to recollect myself, so I'm actually really looking forward to charging headlong and really coming at tomorrow hard to round out Dino Month and to get back on track for some of our usual series and a few other projects that I will be working on as well. Some of which I've mentioned before, some of which I have not. No, I'm not doubling back on what I said in my last vlog. I am keeping things reasonable, but I do have a few things planned. So, thank you all for joining me for this episode of Here at Last Level. This episode of Here at Last Level Press. There was supposed to be a title in there, Mr. Black. Could you please insert it? Thank you for joining me for this vlog here at Last Level Press. I am Mr. Black, and as always, I wish you all good gaming and Godspeed. but you can't refuse. That offer is lead in your skull, right in your face hole. Oh god.